Welcome to The Silent Verdict.
With Clara Monroe and Elias Gray.
You know that little daydream, right? Finding a wallet or, I don't know, an envelope just stuffed with cash. Well, what seems like the luckiest day ever can actually turn into a total legal nightmare. So today, we're going to break down a real case where one man's lucky find, it ended up costing him way more than he ever bargained for. So let's put you in that spot for a second. You see an envelope just sitting there in a parking lot. Nobody's around. What do? I mean, what's your gut reaction? Do you scoop it up? Do you look around for who might have dropped it? Or do you just get in your car and drive away? Believe it or not, what you decide in that split second has some pretty serious legal consequences. And look, this isn't just some made-up situation. For a 40-year-old guy at a gas station in Kelly Township, this exact thing really happened. And the choice he made right then and there, well, it set off a chain reaction of problems that he almost certainly never saw coming. Okay, so here's how it went down. And it all happened super fast. It's around noon, a woman accidentally drops a bank envelope. She gets in her car, drives off, doesn't even realize it yet. Just minutes later, another car pulls into that exact same spot. A man gets out, sees the envelope, grabs it, gets back in his car, and drives away. The whole thing was over in just a few minutes. So the big question is, what was the prize? What was inside? We're not talking about a life-changing lottery win or, a briefcase full of movie money. Nope. The envelope had exactly $286 in it. Hey, it's a nice little chunk of change, right? But not exactly life-altering. Or so you'd think. So the guy drives off, $286 richer, probably thinking, hey, lucky me, and that's the end of it. But here's the thing. Just because no person was standing there watching him doesn't mean nobody saw what happened. Now, this is where the story could have just fizzled out. But the woman who lost the money, she didn't just give up and write it off. She actually retraced her steps, went right back into that gas station, and told the manager what happened. And right here, this is the first major turning point in the whole story. The manager does exactly what any of us would expect these days, right? He goes to check the surveillance footage. And that one simple, totally routine action, it changes everything about this so-called lost money. And bingo, the camera caught it all. I mean, we're not talking some grainy, blurry Bigfoot video here. It was clear as day. It showed the man picking up the envelope, it showed the car he was driving, and this is the absolute key. It captured his license plate. With that little piece of information, the police had everything they needed to find him. So, of course, when the police ran that plate, they got his identity pretty quick. But that wasn't the only thing that popped up. See, his choice to just grab that envelope was about to open up a whole other can of worms. And this is where the situation really spiraled. It turns out this guy shouldn't have even been on the road in the first place. He had a suspended driver's license, his vehicle registration was suspended, and he had no insurance. Wow. So that one simple act of finding a bit of cash, it suddenly blew the lid off 3 other totally separate legal problems. Things were escalating, and fast. All right, so this whole thing brings us to the really important legal question here. Because this case just completely demolishes that old playground rule. Finders keepers, losers weepers. Let me be clear. That saying means absolutely nothing in a court of law. The law actually has a specific name for this. It's called theft of lost property. And yeah, it's a crime. It happens when you find something, you have a pretty good idea it's lost and not just trash, and you make zero reasonable effort to find the owner. Just pocketing the cash and hitting the road, that's pretty much the textbook definition. And this idea is reflected in laws all over the place. Basically, it says that if you find something that's clearly valuable and lost, you actually have a duty to report it to law enforcement. You can't just shrug and say, oh, I didn't know. The law expects you to take a reasonable step, like, I don't know, giving it to the police, or even just the manager of the store where you found it.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, all right, where's the line, right? Do you have to call the cops every time you find a penny on the sidewalk? What about a cool rock on the beach? This is where the law uses a bit of common sense to distinguish between something that is lost versus something that is truly abandoned.
And it all boils down to one simple question. Can the owner be found? A bank envelope dropped just a few minutes ago in a parking lot. Yeah, the owner's probably traceable, or at least nearby. That's lost property. But say an old coin you dig up that's been buried for 150 years. Good luck finding that owner. That's considered abandoned property. Which brings us back to that really common example, finding a $5 or a $10 bill on a busy street. I mean, what are the chances you can find the person who dropped it? Pretty much zero, right? So the law isn't going to expect you to hire a private investigator. The key word here is reasonable. The effort you have to make just has to be reasonable for the situation.
Okay, so let's circle back to our guy at the gas station and see how this all added up for him. Because the final tally is, well, it's pretty ironic.
So first things first, the main event. For taking that cash and driving off, he was officially charged with misdemeanor theft. That's now a criminal charge on his record, all for that one decision. And here, my friends, is the ultimate irony. Let's just look at the math for a second. He found $286, but the fines he was now facing for driving with a suspended license, a suspended registration, and no insurance, you can bet those fines were going to be way more than the $286 he picked up. In the end, his lucky day actually cost him money.
So that just leaves us with one final thought. Was this an honest mistake? You know, something born from that finders keepers myth we all kind of grew up hearing? Or was it a deliberate choice? Honestly, either way, it was a really costly one. It turned a moment of what looked like pure luck into a whole mess of trouble. It's just a powerful reminder, isn't it? Sometimes those moments that look the luckiest are the ones that really demand we make the most honest choice.